It's the biggest week for Bitcoin in the last 4 years, but why is the price action so small, and where's the pump that everybody's been expecting? There's just 3 more days left until the halving, and a lot of people have been expecting that the price is going to explode around this time. So why is the price of Bitcoin still hovering around $62,750 at the time of recording? Well, I actually think one of the reasons is because of this halving. Maybe a lot of the pump action has already been priced in that people have been expecting, but also a lot of people have been recently speculating that maybe the halving is going to cause such a dip in revenues for the miners that they're actually going to have to sell a significant portion of their holdings, and this is going to cause some downward pressure for the price. But I've talked before about how the reward for the blocks are actually only supposed to be an initial reward for the Bitcoin miners, and the halvings are actually intended to reduce the rewards for solving blocks over time. But the general thesis is that over time the fees are going to be so much that the miners are going to make most of their profits from fees instead of block rewards. And now that we're starting to reach mainstream adoption with all of these big institutions investing in Bitcoin for the first time, I think we're probably going to finally be seeing a point in time where the miners are going to make most of their money from the fees. Not to mention, for the very first time in a bull market, we have Bitcoin ordinals or BRC20 tokens, which means that there's now NFTs and layer 2 projects that are available to be made directly on the Bitcoin blockchain. And this is going to cause a lot of transaction fees to be going into the miners' pockets, which is probably going to see their incomes increasing instead of decreasing, with maybe a short-term dip right after the halving. In other words, I think that the reduced rewards for the blocks are actually nothing for us to worry about, maybe something for the miners to worry about in the short term. But with all of this hype around Bitcoin and cryptocurrency being a nascent technology that's going to change the world, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of new people onboarding into the cryptocurrency technology that are going to be bringing a lot of volume and velocity to these cryptocurrencies, meaning that they're going to be trading hands at such a rapid pace that I think these miners are going to be just fine. Today we did have Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking at the Canadian conference, and he said, "Fuck all, I watched it so you don't have to bore the hell out of yourself." He did say something about inflation data not reflecting a decrease in inflation so far this year, and said maybe there's a little bit more work that they have to do, indicating that they might have to continue holding rates at where they're at before doing a rate cut maybe later on in the year. But for now, he wants to see some more hard data that's going to indicate that we're going down to a 2% inflation rate and that it's going to be sustainable. This is nothing different though than what he said in like the last 4 meetings or 4 times that he spoke at least. So the market didn't really react, and fortunately it does look like maybe we're putting in a hammer candle, but I'm really not sure because like I've said, we could come down and retest about $60,000 or even wick shortly below that, because the production price after the halving in 3 days is going to be doubled, with the floor price being about $60,000, and sometimes we do wick down below that, but that's usually going to indicate the floor price from now until the next halving. Is this the floor though right here, and are we going to go shooting off back to the moon as soon as the halving happens, or maybe even in the days leading up to it? I don't know, what the hell do you want from me? We're gonna go up, maybe just not this moment. We just got 72 hours or so until the halving happens though, and it's just a matter of time until money starts pouring back into this thing. But I've talked a lot in the past how sometimes before or even right after the halving we'll have a bit of a cool off or trade sideways for a couple months before retail investors start to really re-enter the market and send the price skyrocketing to the moon. I'm gonna stop trying to look at the wrong camera from now on. Anyway, another reason why the halving could actually be bullish for miners is because, as according to this article on CoinDesk, the Bitcoin halving has crypto miners racing for an epic sat potentially worth millions. As I mentioned before, for the very first time, we do actually have BRC20s trading in a bull market or whenever the halving happens. And as this article goes on to say, this week may be very different from those earlier epochs. Now an intense competition is underway to mine the first block after the halving, which could contain a rare and collectible tradable fragment of a Bitcoin known as an epic sat. Basically now every individual satoshi or the smallest denomination that's possible for Bitcoin is trackable, and you can basically tell when each individual satoshi was minted or who it's belonged to or what it was involved with throughout its lifetime. This means that basically if there was a sat that belonged to Satoshi himself at one point, then it could be worth more, or the very first Satoshi that's minted after a halving could also be worth more, as it's basically an NFT or a tradable collector's item, basically a souvenir from one of the earliest halvings that could be worth maybe millions in the future. It says this is the very first Bitcoin rewards halving in which value can be assigned to individual sats. They can now be traded like NFTs following last year's launch of the Ordinals protocol, and the first sat to be mined after this month halving could theoretically attain a value of $1 million or more on marketplaces for digital collectibles. It's kind of a lottery ticket, said an executive of the crypto mining firm Marathon Digital, and this could see miners actually ramping up their operations leading into the halving instead of reducing their operations due to the expectation of the reduced block rewards. According to Bloomberg, the Bitcoin miners have been falling even as CEO says they're ready for the halving, and this could be because of the expectation of reduced revenues due to the halving of the rewards for solving a block. But we've seen these fears leading up to previous halvings, and it's never really had that much of a significant impact other than raising the price in the coming months. Another reason that we might be trading sideways and a little bit down right now is because, as according to this article on Crypto Potato, the spot Bitcoin ETF flows have dried up as the crypto market rout continues. And while a couple weeks ago we were reaching record inflows for ETFs ever, really, not just Bitcoin ETFs, it does look like the net flows have dried up basically, but that doesn't mean that BlackRock isn't buying up all of the crypto that everybody's panic selling, because as according to this article on Cointelegraph, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF is the only fund with inflows since Friday. Basically, some of these other ETFs, like the Grayscale one, have been taking some profits. Meanwhile, BlackRock has just been accumulating because they see what's coming. And while, as I said, we could definitely have a little bit more downside to go, I don't think we're going to have very much more, and I'm pretty sure that this floor is going to be right here at about $60,000. But in the meantime, it looks like maybe we're putting in a hammer candle here, a small one though, on the daily chart. And if we do have a little bit of an upswing, then we're going to be putting in a bullish divergence here for the RSI. So maybe we've already reached the bottom, but I still think we're going to see reduced volatility over the next couple of days as people anticipate what's going to be happening after the actual halving, and if it's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news situation, or if it's going to cause a supply squeeze that's going to send us skyrocketing to the moon. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is this actually going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news situation, or is this going to cause a supply squeeze that's going to send us skyrocketing upward? Either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if I brought you value, but most importantly, don't forget to do only good every day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.